Good morning. Could you please state your name and spell your last name for us?
Matthew Paris, P-A-R-I-S, just like the city.
Mr. Paris, where do you work?
Scranton School District,
Are you a teacher? What do you teach?
5th grade, math, science, and social studies.
Where do you live?
I have a home in Pennsylvania.
Okay. And at any point, have you had a second residence?
I did.
Okay. And back in 2022, did you have a second residence?
I did.
And was that in Broward County?
Pompano, yes.
Okay. And at that time, 2022, were you married?
I was.
And what's your former wife's name?
Sherilyn,
Okay.
at the time, Paris.
And do you know someone by the name of Alexander Terechek?
I do.
And who is that?
My brother-in-law.
Okay. And is he married?
He is.
To who?
Rachel Trepchek.
Do you know them well?
I do.
Do the Terecheks live, or did you say Terapchek?
Trepchek.
Development.
T-A-R-A-P-A-K.
Okay. So, do the Terapcheks live in Pennsylvania?
They have also 2 houses, one in Pennsylvania and one in Hillsborough, Mile. I don't know where that is.
Do the Terapcheks own a boat?
They do.
Did they own one in 2022?
Yes.
Okay. Say boat.
Same thing.
And is that boat located in Florida?
It is.
Would you and your wife, back in 2022, travel back and forth between Pennsylvania and Florida?
We would.
Were you traveling or in Florida in April of 2022?
Were we traveling?
Or were you here in Florida in April of 2022?
We were.
Okay. Did you attend an event called Boca Bash on April 24th of 2022?
I did.
Was it your intention to go to Boca Bash, or did you have plans to just go voting that day?
It was our intention to go to Boca Bash.
Okay. Had you ever been before?
No.
Can you describe what you believe Boca Bash is?
It's a large gathering of voters. Just a big party, I guess.
Around what time did you arrive to Boca Bash?
I don't specifically remember, but my best estimation would be 10, 11 o'clock.
Okay.
12, I don't remember. It's 4 years ago.
Yes,
Best
so
estimation, yeah.
best estimation, 10, 11.
Yeah.
How did you get there that day?
Alex Trapchak's boat and Rachel Trapchak's boat.
Did you drink that day?
No. Yes, no, yes, no. I don't, well, I want to be specific. I think when we were going up, they made some margaritas, and I think I might have had a sip, but no, I wasn't consuming any amount of alcohol that would have impaired my judgment.
And why would you, is there a reason why you wouldn't have consumed alcohol that day?
Yes, Alex has a large boat. It's always better to have a first mate, and anytime I get the opportunity to drive Alex's boat, I take it because it's a very nice boat, and I would never drive his boat impaired.
When you guys arrived and kind of spent the day there, did you go into the water?
We did.
In the area where you anchored the boat, how deep of the water do you estimate it was there?
I would say an estimation would be 15 to 20 feet.
Was there a sandbar nearby?
There was.
How far would you estimate it would take to swim from your boat to the sandbar?
Best estimate, between 50 and 100 yards.
50 and 100 yards?
Yards, yes.
How many people would you estimate were at Boca Bash?
My best estimation, over thousands, plural, I would say between 5 and 10,000.
Were there boats anchored nearby your boat?
There were.
At some point that day, did you make contact with someone you now know to be Caroline Schwitzsky?
Did I make contact with her at some point during the day?
Yes. All right, can you describe the events that led up to meeting her?
Okay, in its entirety?
Yes, but actually, before you start that, can you let us know, did you know a Caroline Schwitzsky before April 24th, 2022?
No.
Seeing her, did she look familiar to you?
No.
Okay. Now, from the top, when was the first time that you saw her?
Alex, myself, Rachel, and Sherry swam into the sandbar. We walked around for a bit. We swam back out utilizing a blow-up raft looking thing. Each one of us had one. When we were back toward the boat, swimming that previously mentioned 50 to 100 yards in 15 to 20 feet of water, Alex got up onto the boat, Sherry got up onto the boat, Rachel got up onto the boat, I was still in the water. Caroline came swimming at me, asked if she could grab onto the flotation device. I said, just grab onto the boat, but she grabbed onto the flotation device. I said, yeah, sure, no problem, just trying to help out.
Okay, so you were the only one that was in the water when Ms. Schwitzsky started swimming towards you.
I believe so, yeah.
And was she alone when she swam up?
As far as I could see, my vision was impaired because you're in the water, so you can only see. She swam up right next to me, so I couldn't see anybody else.
Okay, you say vision impaired, but what you mean is kind of, you could only see straight in front of you.
My sight line was impaired.
Okay. Do you have any issues with your eyesight? Okay.
Issues with my eyesight.
What was her demeanor?
Could you be more specific with that question?
How was her facial reactions? Do you remember if she had any?
Under duress.
Okay. Knowing what you know now, was there anything of note in the way that she was swimming?
She seemed tired, out of breath, and she seemed rushed.
Okay. Did she seem upset?
In that moment, I couldn't make that evaluation.
And how big was this raft that you've kind of described?
I would say 2 feet by 2 feet, maybe 2 feet by 3 foot. It was a somewhat cylindrical blow-up raft with a mesh lining in the middle.
Okay, so a little bit sturdier than a pool noodle.
A little bit sturdy.
Okay, and was it blow up?
It was. Maybe about the same level, buoyancy.
And was it something that you sat in, ideally?
You could.
Okay. So when she grabs a hold of your floaty, how far away would you estimate you were from her?
When she grabbed the floaty, I would say less than a foot, face to face.
Your Honor, permission to approach the witness?
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm showing defense with no trademarked for states evidence 1. And states 2, A through B.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, I'll receive. Are you gonna move those in, Ed?
Yes, I'm gonna have him mark things, so. Mr. Ferris, states 1, I believe with no objection has been moved into evidence.
Received unanimous without objection, states to do.
Can you take a look at that picture and let me know what that picture is?
It is of Alex and Rachel's boat.
Okay, and is that a fair and accurate picture of kind of what that boat looks like?
Yes.
Understanding that photo doesn't capture where you were on that day, when we're talking about Ms. Schwitzsky, can you mark an M where you were in the water?
When I made contact with
Yes.
Mr. Schwitzsky. And
M as in Matthew. And can you mark a C where Ms. Schwitzsky was? Okay. Is that right there?
sorry.
Thank you. State will publish. And turning your attention to states 2A through B. Can you take a look at those photos? And who is this person?
This is who I believe to be Caroline Schwitzsky.
All right.
Schwitzsky.
Table published that's been previously marked and agreed to as states 2.
Any
Thank you.
objection to statement 2A and B?
No objection.
Or receiving evidence without objection to states compiled in 2A and B?
All right, so she grabs onto the floaty. What happens next?
I saw Cole come up behind and kind of push her down.
All right, you gestured behind me. Do you see the person in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Could you please point to him and describe what he's wearing?
Blue sport coat, maroon tie, white shirt.
Your Honor, at this time in the state, would I have the court reflect that the witnesses identify the defendant?
The record shall also reflect.
So, had you seen that man before?
No.
Had you noticed the man swimming up?
No.
What did he do?
Just kind of held her down underwater.
Okay. Could you describe his demeanor?
I would be speculating.
No, if you can give us what you saw, you can describe what you saw.
To that objection, speculation.
Overall, he can answer as phrased. If he can't answer, he can't answer.
It seemed he was somewhat deliberate.
Did he appear tense or relaxed?
Tense.
Did you see any emotion on his face?
No.
What did you first think was happening?
Initially, I thought it was a game. They were playing of some sort. Again, being a school teacher, I don't necessarily see things like that all the time, so my initial reaction was they must be playing a game or something, but after a period of time, I started to think that they weren't.
How long do you think passed before you started to realize that this may be not a game?
A couple seconds. I mean, you know, it's hard to remember exactly, but something in my brain kind of went off saying something might not be right here.
And so what did you do when you started having the thought that something wasn't right?
Reached down for Miss Schwitzsky.
And what did you do when you reached down?
Just grabbed her and kind of guided her up.
Okay. And at that point, did the defendant respond in any way?
I think he yelled something out. I don't remember.
Okay. Did anybody on the boat, from what you remember, respond when this started happening?
I remember Alex yelling something. I couldn't remember exactly what it is 4 years ago, but he was yelling something somewhat aggressive at Mr. Goldberg.
And was the defendant breathing heavily, from what you remember?
Miss Schwitzsky? Yes.
And what about the defendant?
The defendant, sorry. Not that I recall, but again, I don't.
What was Ms. Schwitzky's immediate reaction once you pulled her out from under the water?
She seemed panicked and she was kind of fighting me. I think probably assuming, again, she was probably assuming that I was still Mr. Goldberg.
And you indicated after the victim was pulled away from him, the defendant yelled something. You don't recall what he said?
He said, and again, it'd be something to the effect, that's my.
Objection, that's an answer and it's also speculation.
It's defendant's statement.
Well, he's already answered previously that he didn't know.
That he has. Do you have a recollection?
A vague recollection, so I couldn't be locked into exactly what he said, but I do have a vague recollection of him saying something to the effect that that's my girlfriend.
Overruled, Judge.
Sorry.
That's good. I have to hear it first before I go on.
Sure, I understand.
Did the defendant ever grab onto you or try to?
I don't believe so, no.
Did the defendant try to grab the floaty?
I was more focused on Ms. Schwitzsky, so I don't remember that.
Did the defendant try to grab the boat?
That, no, he was nowhere near the boat.
Once Ms. Schwitzsky was out of his grasp, do you remember whether he had a hard time swimming?
I don't remember him having a hard time swimming, no.
Do you remember him having a hard time swimming ever?
No.
Where did Ms. Schwitzsky go after this?
After the incident,
Yes.
we got her onto the boat, and that's where she was. I mean, in its entirety for the rest of the day, which other than all that.
Well, how was she acting when she first got back on, or got onto your boat?
Panicked, very panicked.
Was she blaming him?
I believe I remember her saying, he never acts that way.
Did the defendant swim away after the incident and Ms. Schwitzsky pulled onto the boat?
The defendant? Yeah, yes.
Okay. So at the point where she's sitting on the boat,
Mhm.
was the defendant allowed on the boat?
No.
Can you remember how long it was from the time that he forced her under the water to the time that he swam away?
I can't remember.
Was 911 called?
I didn't call it.
If it wasn't called by anybody, do you know why you wouldn't have personally called?
I think I said this in my deposition, sorry. My primary goal was Ms. Schwitzsky and her safety and calming her down.
Judge, may I have one brief moment?
Sure.
Did the defendant ever return back to that boat?
He did.
Understanding it's been 4 years, I'm gonna have to see if you can estimate between, how long it took between him swimming away and him coming back.
Rough estimate, 15, 20 minutes.
Did you see what direction he had been swimming from that time?
Yes, he was swimming from, it would be west.
Okay, and,
He would be coming from the east, swimming west, sorry.
okay,
From essentially the sandbar.
from the sandbar, okay. Was he saying anything at that point?
I think he was yelling her name.
And what did the victim do when he returned?
I think she might have called out his name.
Okay. Did she go and try to talk to him?
At that point, I went to the front of the boat and she was pretty calm. We had reassured her that we would get her an Uber ride wherever she wanted to go. So at that point, I just went to the front of the boat to kind of decompress myself. So I really, in answer to your question, I don't really remember.
Was this upsetting to you?
Yeah. So you don't see it every day.
Were the police notified at any point?
Yes.
At what point?
When Mr. Goldberg swam back up to the boat.
Okay, so after he came back to the boat, that was when you notified
Police were all
FWC?
over, yes.
Okay. And did you guys call or did you flag them?
Flagged him.
Did you make a statement to the police?
I did.
Did your then wife, brother, sister-in-law give statements?
I believe, yeah, all four of us did.
One moment, Judge. Mr. Harris, do you remember exactly how the defendant had his hands on the victim?
It was underwater, so I'm not sure how to answer that question.
Do you remember giving a deposition?
I do.
Do you remember providing an answer on that day?
I do.
Okay. And do you remember whether you were able to provide a description of how you saw the defendant's hands?
I mean, it was around her neck.
Okay, would you be able to demonstrate if necessary?
If necessary, sure.
Okay. Your Honor, permission to have the witness step down?
Sure, if you step down, you just make sure you're by a microphone if you're saying.
I didn't even judge.
If you're gonna step down, you can do that. Just if you say anything, you need to make sure you're by a microphone. Okay.
Can I provide him the mic?
Absolutely, that's somebody's gonna be.
Yes. So while you're standing, just use this microphone, okay? And then you can set it down to actually do the description. All right, Mr. Paris, could you please demonstrate on Ms. Kuskova how you saw the defendant's hands? And Judge, I can describe what he's doing, and defense can obviously object if they disagree. And for the record, the fingers are pointing towards the front of Ms. Kuskova's body, the thumbs are pointing towards her back, and they are at the shoulder area near the neck.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, is that, okay, you can step down and go back to the seat, thank you. Do you recall whether, when he pushed down, whether he did this with any force?
Yes.
How much force would you estimate?
The force of his body.
Did you see any reaction on his face or any form of physical reaction when he was forcing her down?
No.
From what you saw, was he trying to stay above water?
Objection, speculation.
Just
Mr. Paris, do you recall ever providing a description of the defendant's demeanor on this case?
I don't recall, but if my memory is sharp, I might remember. I don't recall.
And when you saw the defendant's hands on her neck or in her shoulder area near her neck, did you see it happening for a long time before she went under the water?
No.
And at this point, were you still about 1 foot away from her, as you had said you were before?
Yes.
And as far as the level of intoxication being from 0, completely sober, to 10, completely inebriated, blackout drunk, where would you put yourself?
0.
0?
0.
Do you acknowledge that there was alcohol in the boat?
Yes.
Did your then wife at the time drink?
Objection, speculation.
Oh, he can answer if he knows.
I don't remember, but I vividly don't remember us as a group drinking that day more than 1 drink.
Right. At this time, Judge, the state will pass the witness.
I'm not trying to limit your cross-examination at all, I'm just trying to figure out when to take a break. Do you think you have about 15, 20 minutes of cross-examination, or is that 15 minutes?
Oh, about 15, 20 minutes.
All right, then why don't you do your cross-examination, we'll just take a break.
Thank you. How you doing, sir?
Okay.
You didn't want to be here today, did you?
Objection relevance?
Not really.
You were forced to. You got a subpoena, right? And you weren't going to come unless you were forced to be here, right?
I was.
All right, and then you got a subpoena signed by His Honor, Fiancé. That's why you're here, right?
Okay.
Is that true?
I got a subpoena in the mail, that is true.
Yeah, well, you weren't coming unless you got something signed by this court, right?
I'm not sure how to answer that.
All right. Well, you wanted proof that you were ordered to be here, otherwise you weren't going to come voluntarily, right?
I may have come voluntarily, I don't know.
All right, were you giving the prosecutor a hard time about coming or no?
Not well.
Okay. So when you get there, you're with Sherilyn, your ex-wife, Alex, and Rachel. Who's the other guy on the boat? You have another adult male. Who is that man?
He's a friend of the family. By family, I mean Alex and Rachel's. It's Alex and Rachel and his son, and it's their son's friend.
Is he a grown man?
I don't know what your definition of grown man is.
Oh, 18 or older.
He's 18 years old.
All right. And you don't know his name?
Khosrow's the last name. I forget his first name.
All right. And isn't it true there was another couple on a boat next to you named Kyle and Lily?
Yes.
Who is Kyle and Lily?
Alex and Rachel's friend.
And where was their boat compared to Mr. Tarapchek's boat?
That would be I believe it was the port side they were tied off to.
So right next to it.
Yes.
All right. This is the first time you ever went to Boca Bash, right?
Yes.
Thousands of people, like you said.
Yes.
A lot of police officers all over the place, right?
Yes.
All different agencies, Boca, Sheriff's Office, Fish and Wildlife, right?
Yes.
More than you would normally see anywhere. The police were everywhere.
I didn't notice them, but I'm sure there were ample amounts of police.
I'm sorry?
I didn't notice the police, but I'm sure there were ample amounts of police.
Okay. It's a big party scene, right?
It is.
Okay. All right, your testimony is you only had a sip of the margarita on the way up there?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. And there's also rum on the boat? Right?
I don't know.
A blender?
It was a blender, yep.
Tequila?
I don't know.
Wine? You don't know?
I don't know. I don't know the contents of the boat, but it's a large boat and there are refrigerators. Alex usually keeps the boat stocked.
Isn't it true you don't remember how many drinks you had that day?
No.
You were only guessing it's one, right?
No, I remember not drinking.
Okay. Show you deposition. Remember giving a deposition back on February 15, 2023?
Yes.
And if you could turn to page 11, read lines 17 through 20 for yourself.
Page 11. 17. So you said you have how many?
No, read it to yourself, please.
Sure. Okay.
All right. And isn't it true back on February 15, 2023, when you were under oath, the question was, so you said how many drinks over the course of the day, sir? And your answer was, I don't remember. But if I could ballpark it, I would say one. Remember giving that answer?
Yes.
But today it was just a sip. Right?
Okay.
That's your answer today?
That's my answer.
All right. How many times have you been on Mr. Alex's boat, would you estimate?
10, 15.
Okay. Multi-million-dollar boat?
Yes.
Any cameras on that boat?
I do not know.
Did you have a camera or video camera with you? you, or a phone with a video camera?
I had a phone.
Police ever asked you to see it? Police ever asked you to look at it?
No.
This particular woman that you described as Caroline Schwitzsky that you know now, you saw her earlier in the day on a boat next to your boat that you were on, right?
Yes.
And she was partying and dancing and having lots of fun, right?
Appeared to be.
And you knew she had a red bathing suit on, right?
Yes.
And you were watching the young ladies that were dancing on the boat next to you, right?
Yes.
It's a normal thing a guy would do. It's not abnormal, right?
Yes.
Just don't want your wife to know, right?
We were joking with our wives.
All right. But in the deposition, you said you were ashamed that you're not ashamed to say you took a peek and you didn't want your wife to find out, right?
Okay.
Is that true? You didn't want to read in this deposition?
I think it was a joke in the deposition, but
Oh, okay. All right. So you noticed she had a bathing suit on that was pretty much revealing, right?
yes.
You never saw Cole Goldberg that day. You couldn't describe what he was wearing before this incident happened, right?
Nope.
No interest in him, of course.
Nope.
Okay. When Ms. Goldberg got on the boat, you didn't call 911 when she got on Alex's boat, right?
I didn't.
Okay. And she wasn't coughing up phlegm or water, right?
I don't recall.
Okay. So if she was having trouble breathing, you would remember that. If she was spitting up water or salt water was in her coming out of her nose or she needed CPR, nothing like that happened, right?
No.
You never told the police you saw any marks on her, did you?
Pardon?
You never told the police you saw any marks on Miss Schwitzsky.
I didn't. They didn't ask.
And you never put in your statement, you never told them, right? In your written statement, right? You never put down she had marks on her, right?
I didn't.
And it's your testimony that the only time the police would flag down was, what, 25, 30 minutes after this supposed incident happened?
Yes.
And that's only because Mr. Goldberg came back and y'all didn't want him on your boat, right?
Probably yes.
Okay. And this incident happened about 5-6 feet from Alex's boat?
Yes.
And Caroline Schwitzsky wasn't the only young lady dancing that day. You described this as a debauchery of young kids who were all basically dancing and partying to music.
Having fun, yeah.
And debauchery was your word, right?
Hmm.
Remember that word?
I don't remember it, but if you say it's there.
Do you disagree with it?
No.
Okay. So all four of you had flotation devices?
Yes.
You, your ex-wife, Alex, and his wife.
Yes.
And when this young lady came up to you, did you recognize who it was at first?
No.
Oh, not until she got back on your boat?
Yep.
All right, and she asked for help, right?
She did.
And she was struggling to swim, right?
Yes. Appeared to be.
Sorry?
She appeared to be.
Sure. That was your opinion? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And you gave her your flotation device? Or allowed her to hang on to it, obviously?
I allowed her to hang on to it. Yes.
You don't know where she was going, do you?
I do not.
Did she ever tell you she was going to land?
I don't remember her saying.
Okay. You have no idea where she was going, or why she was going your direction? You personally don't know.
I personally don't.
Do you know how much she was drinking that day? Do you know how much Caroline Schwitzsky was drinking that day?
No idea.
And when you described a little while ago when you got down off the stand there and you hold on to the other prosecutor from behind, Was that the direction Mr. Goldberg came from behind Ms. Schwitzsky?
Yes,
And is it true she was under the water for about till 4 Mississippi?
I couldn't estimate, but if I was to put a number on it, anywhere in and around there.
Okay. And do you know if her whole head went under the water? Part of her head?
Her whole head,
You sure?
yes,
Okay. And you grabbed her hand and guided her?
yes.
Today you said that she was fighting with you. Where did you ever say that? Take a look at your deposition. You've never said that before in your written statement or in your deposition that she was fighting with you, thinking you were Mr. Goldberg. Isn't it true today's the first time you've ever said that?
Nobody asked me.
Okay, so they asked you hundreds of questions about what happened, but you never answered that.
Objection and proper impeachment.
It's argumentative, sustain.
Okay, so do you agree today's the first time you ever said that she was fighting with you?
If it didn't appear in the deposition like you said, then yes.
Okay, and you didn't put it in your written statement, right?
I didn't, no.
Right. But you had no problem grabbing her hand and guiding her up to the boat, right?
I'm sorry, what's the
You
question?
had no problem grabbing her hand and guiding her to Alex's boat, right?
I had no problem. I grabbed her and guided her up to the boat. What do you mean, no problem?
It was easy, you had no problem. You took her hand and guided her to the boat, right?
Yes,
Okay. You didn't have to carry her onto the boat, did you?
I did not.
She got up on her own volition, correct?
She did.
And you remember, I think you just testified earlier, that Mr. Alex took a gaff and was threatening Mr. Goldberg?
Yes,
Okay. Because he assumed he was trying to kill Ms. Schwitzsky.
yes,
Alex made that very clear, that he didn't like Mr. Goldberg and yelled at him that he shouldn't be a lawyer, he should be ashamed of himself. Remember that?
I don't remember that, but I remember Alex yelling with the gaff from the boat.
Remember yelling at him that he was an attempted murderer and telling the police that?
I don't remember that, but I don't disagree with that either.
Okay, Alex is a loud guy, right?
Pardon?
He's a loud guy. He's a loud and aggressive man, right?
Not usually.
Okay. That day he was, right?
If that's your opinion, I don't,
Was he drinking? Was Alex drinking?
I don't know.
You have no idea.
I don't.
Okay. And when Ms. Schwitzsky came up to you and asked that she was for help, and she said, "Can I rest here?" Remember her asking you, "Can she rest there?"
Yes,
Okay. And she looked tired and she had labored breathing.
yes.
You don't know anything about Ms. Schwitzsky personally, do you? Like her physical health or her mental well-being? You know nothing about her personally.
Absolutely nothing.
Okay. And when you saw Mr. Goldberg in the water, you don't personally know if he was having a hard time swimming, do you?
I do not.
You know how much he had to drink?
No idea.
You know if he ate anything or drank any water that day?
I do not.
And you actually didn't even see him come up. He just got there and all of a sudden he was there.
Yes.
He wasn't splashing around, making noise.
Not that I could see, not that I recall either.
You didn't hear anything.
I didn't.
Okay? You previously said, isn't it true, that Mr. Goldberg had his hands clenched around Ms. Schwitzky's neck?
Objection and proper impeachment.
Isn't that true, sir?
I don't recall, but if it's in the deposition, then I said it.
No. Did you say that or not? If you don't remember, I'll refresh your memory.
Would you?
Sure. Page 30, line 10 through 16 of the deposition of you.
Line 10 through 16.
Yes, sir. We can read any other parts that help you.
So what I said was, his hands were down underwater. I couldn't say where I said I couldn't say. His hands were clenched together, so I can't speak to where he had her. When you say hands together, what do you mean, like he was pushing her down or something? It looked like around her neck, is what I said.
Right, so you previously said he had his hands clenched around her neck, right?
Okay.
You agree or disagree you said that?
I agree that I said that.
Okay. Not today, you didn't say that. Right?
I didn't say that today. I wasn't asked that today, was I?
Well, you showed in the description. You didn't grab the prosecutor around the neck, clenching her neck, did you?
Okay.
Yes or no?
Yeah, that's the shoulder and neck area. Are you making a distinction of the neck versus the upper shoulder?
Well, making a distinction of clenching Ms. Schwitzsky's neck. Did you do that as you demonstrated on the prosecutor? Did you clench her neck? Is that your opinion of clenching her neck?
What my opinion is in the deposition.
I'm not asking you. I'm asking today, when you did that demonstration, were you clenching the assistant prosecutor's neck as you showed the court what you observed?
I don't know how to answer that. That's an opinion of mine, but did I clench her neck?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes or no? Yes, no, or I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what your opinion of clenching neck is.
All right. Mr. Goldberg was keeping himself afloat above water. For whatever reason why he did this, right? He was keeping himself afloat, right? When this
I
happened.
can't answer that.
Well, did he go under the water?
He did not go into the water.
So he kept himself afloat by doing this, right?
It didn't appear that way to me, but if
So he didn't keep himself afloat when he grabbed, whatever direction he grabbed or how he grabbed this young lady. He didn't stay above water?
Objection, asked and answered.
so,
Yes or no?
was he above water?
Yes,
as
sir.
he was holding her under? Was that the
Yes.
question?
Yes.
He was above water. Yes.
Okay. And he never said anything before or during the time he was doing what he did that you heard. Mr. Goldberg I'm talking about. You don't know if Mr. Goldberg was in distress, do you?
No idea.
Do you have any idea what time Mr. Goldberg and Ms. Schwitzsky arrived at Boca Bash?
I do not.
Do you have any training about what swimmers in distress, what they look like and what happens when people can't swim? Have you had any training in that or expertise in that?
Limited.
You never studied that, did you, in school?
In the military.
Okay, for swimmers in distress?
General survival, yes.
Okay, in the water.
Yes.
All right, but how about in terms of people that are swimming in the ocean when they're in distress? Do you have any training in that?
No formal training.
All right. Did you ever see anyone drown personally in the ocean?
Not in the ocean, no.
No. Did you ever see Mr. Goldberg go to the boat after he left Mr. Alex's boat and grab his backpack before he came back?
Did I ever see, could you repeat that?
Sure. Sorry. So Mr. Goldberg was on Alex's boat when he was being threatened with the gaff, right? Trying to get on, but y'all wouldn't let him on, right?
He didn't come close to the boat at that particular point.
All right, because he wasn't allowed,
He
right?
wasn't allowed, yes.
So your testimony is he wasn't even touching the boat?
He wasn't touching the boat.
Okay. When he left, before he came back, did you see him with a backpack at any time? Let me ask you that way.
I didn't see him with a backpack.
So when he came back, whether he had a backpack or not, you don't know?
I have absolutely no idea.
Okay. You don't know if he had a backpack the first time when you saw him?
I do not.
Okay. Isn't it true that the look in Mr. Goldberg's eye when he was grabbing Ms. Schwitzsky in any way he did, whatever he did, that was discomforting to you, right? His look in his eye, in Goldberg's eye is what I'm asking.
I don't know.
Okay. Go to page 40, lines 7 to 16, see if that refreshes your memory. Not the look in Mr. Goldberg's eye.
40, line
7 through 16, please.
7 through 16. here? 40? 40.
Hold on, let me get to where I am. I lost my place. Page 40,
Mm-hmm.
line 7 through 16. If it doesn't help you, that's okay. I'm just asking for refreshers.
Okay. It doesn't refresh, I don't.
Simply look at lines 15 and 16.
15.
Maybe that's easier.
Okay.
So you did have some kind of look in his eye that you saw, right?
Seems somewhat deliberate, yeah.
Well, you didn't say deliberate. My question is, he had a look in your eye, his eye, that bothered you, right?
Yes.
Where did you ever say deliberate before today? Did you ever say that in this deposition?
I did not.
Did you ever say that to the police?
I don't remember.
Well, you want to take a look at your written statement?
Well, I didn't put it in my written statement, but I don't remember if I verbally said it. to the
Okay.
police. You asked if I verbally said it to the police.
Would you be surprised to learn it's not on the body cam either, or you that one surprised you?
I don't remember saying that, no.
So 4 years later, now this is deliberate, right?
Okay,
Is that your testimony?
that's my testimony.
Okay. You didn't see any scratch marks on this young lady's neck, right?
Any scratch marks?
Yes, sir. You didn't see any scratch marks on her neck,
I
right?
didn't really investigate it.
Okay. You didn't see any hand marks or prints on her neck, right? No fingerprint marks, right?
Again, I didn't investigate her name.
Well, you were investigating her earlier in the day, right? And watching her pretty carefully.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, you were checking her out. She was a hot-looking girl.
That's not investigating.
Oh, okay. Well, when she was on your boat, your testimony is you weren't looking at her?
I was more concerned with her well-being.
Okay. A girl that possibly was almost drowned intentionally, you don't look to see if there's any marks on her?
I didn't, it's not my job.
All right, let me show you offense exhibit number 1 for identification. See any marks on her?
I don't see any in the picture.
Okay. You didn't see any in person either, did you?
Objection asked and answered.
Okay. And whether Mr. Goldberg grabbed the raft or not, after you took Caroline or helped her on the boat, or whatever volition she went on the boat, you don't know if he was holding onto that raft, do you?
I do not.
So when Mr. Goldberg swam up and did whatever he did to Ms. Schwitzsky, how far was the yacht that y'all were on from Ms. Goldberg?
Feet.
1 foot?
Less than 10, probably more than 3 or 4.
Okay. And when Mr. Goldberg came up, he came up from behind her, obviously, like you said.
Yes.
So Ms. Schwitzsky lived a little bit closer to the boat or the yacht that y'all came on than he was.
Yes.
Okay. And it looked like Ms. Schwitzsky was basically saying nothing happened, right? He's never done this before, as your testimony earlier, right?
Yes.
Okay, she was. Hold on a second. 1 minute, Judge. I don't know anything else, thank you.
Any redirect examination?
Very brief, Judge. I know. Sorry.
Mr. Harris, you gave a deposition in this case, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember that being in like 2023?
Yes.
Would you agree that that's a little bit closer to the incident date than today?
Yes.
And today, you've had a difficulty describing the facial expressions of the defendant. Would it refresh your recollection to review what you stated in your deposition?
Yes.
Okay, turning your attention to page 44, line 16, if you can read that through line 16 on page 45.
16,
16 to 16, one page, 44 to 45.
44, 45.
Yes, thank you.
Question, okay, so when you
No,
just.
don't read it out
you
loud, I'm
just-
sorry. Just read it to yourself. Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay.
I switched classes. School. Okay.
Great. Has your memory been refreshed?
Sure.
Okay. Can you describe what his facial expressions were when he swam up to Ms. Schwitzsky and submerged her underwater?
There's no object to speculation.
I'll hear the answer first before I roll in.
So just for clarification, should I just read from the deposition?
No. Did your memory get refreshed by reading your deposition?
Yes.
Okay, so answering from now your refreshed memory,
Seemed
what was
deliberate.
his demeanor?
Deliberate.
Okay. Did he appear? I'm sorry.
I have a rule on the objection, I overruled the objection.
Okay, thank you.
It was elicited from cross-examination.
And did he appear angry?
Seemed to be, yes.
Did he look furious?
Yes.
In that moment, with that expression, you had him as angry and furious. Did you have that expression on his face when you saw him again when he swam back to the boat?
No.
Okay, so his expression was different when he came back.
Yes.
Was he crying when he came back?
I don't remember, but he could have been.
Have you ever described that part when he came back and she's talking to him as a drama?
Yes.
Did it upset you after what you had seen previously to see her talking to him again?
Yes.
That's irrelevance.
Overruled.
Yes.
When he came back, was he allowed on the boat?
He was not.
Was he a danger from what you thought?
From what I thought, yes. And I think it was a good idea for the two of them to be together.
Was it your intention that day, only speaking to you obviously, was your intention to have this man arrested for what he did?
It wasn't my intention, no.
Was police action taken after he came back?
Yes.
Brief moment, Judge.
Sure.
Regarding Ms. Schwitzsky fighting you when you pulled her out of the water, would it refresh your recollection if you referred to your deposition as to what your answer was?
Okay. Sure.
Read to yourself, page 27, line 23 to line 25.
Page 27, line 23. Okay.
All right, has your memory been refreshed?
Sure.
Did you testify at your deposition that she was trying to fight you?
Yes.
Did you testify that you thought it was probably because she thought you were Mr. Goldberg?
Yes.
I have nothing else, Judge.
Thank you very much, sir. You can sit down. That's, I believe that's Mr. Shiner's.
Okay.
Thank you.
And
Is that-
Judge,
is that what you're-
actually, no, I'll take it.